I can't tell you I didn't have concerns, but I think it worked all right. Here's the latest project to occupy my time. It's a 2004 Palomino Bronco, pretty lightweight, 1200 empty weight camper. I'll just show you what I'm currently doing right now. On the driver's side, we've got these what look like little doorways or hatchways, and that's indeed what they are. This is to allow you to get at what is behind the, in between the bed wall and the truck. There's some useful storage there. However, on this side there were none, and I want to show you what I've started already, because I had to do some layout and planning, and I thought I'd better start filming this. This right here is what I've got so far. This is from Temu. It's a marine hatch, RV hatch. It's not bad, and the price wasn't bad. There, it's got a rubber seal, and it's got dual latch on the back here. This fits into your recessed hole, and then the flanges are, I guess, screwed from inside. Here we are. I'll use stainless screws here to screw through. Okay. Now, you might notice that these are kind of big. I actually bought two. I only need one. That's another story. That's me mismeasuring something. This, I knew I was getting something humongous, but you see it's almost twice as big as that. Almost twice as big. But I couldn't get anything. If I got anything smaller than this, it ended up being a round porthole, like 9 inches diameter or something like that. So I thought, well, I can manage that. The whole question is, what kind of structure is inside that wall? And am I going to have to reinforce the wall? I'll put that down right there. So let's look at what is this wall made of. And it's really like everything else here. This stuff is a lightweight, no kidding. When I was from the other side, there is some paneling, just some wood paneling. And then when I put a drill through it, went clunk. I thought, boy, there's a big dead space there. But when I knocked on it, didn't feel like a dead space. What it is it's just styrofoam. It's the bead type white styrofoam, large beads. And then outside is like, I don't know what that is, 20 thou, maybe even 30 thou aluminum. So it's a sandwich. They've now you can get structural strength from a sandwich, so it's some cheap paneling on the inside and metal on the outside. So that's good for stiffness and so on. But that's what is, holding things up here, this structure up here, except for the back. The big bulkheads in the back are something like the whole face of the back and the whole face of the front, what I believe from what I can see are probably 3/4 inch chipboard, and it's probably one solid piece. So that's doing the bulk of the support for this. It's supported at the end, and there are stringers along here. But this here, I still am going to have to reinforce. So my plan is now, I've got an angle grinder with a little metal disc, a little less than 1/8 of an inch. We'll just zing off the aluminum. Then I'll go in and I'll use a knife to cleanly cut the paneling, and I'll also clean that off inside use a knife so that I don't tear. This is the inside. I've deconstructed it somewhat. There were some of these, some conduit or electrical protection over the 110 volt wires and the 12 volt wires. I'm going to relocate those 12 up a little higher, staple them up here. I'll get some slack in that. That will allow the flange for the window to go up a little higher, because I wanted to keep it off of the stringer down here. So to prevent peeling of the paper veneer, I'll score that with a knife on the outside. I'm going to use this angle grinder. because it'll cut fairly straight, I believe. I'm going to check something. There's the bezel, or the frame, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. So the straight edges are good. I can see in the corners I might need to open up just a little bit. If I make a miscut here, the flange is very generous, about an inch of a flange, plastic flange. It will hide it. Could almost cut it just with repeated cutting through this side, but I'll get the flush cutter. Okay. This will be going in from the other side, of course, but man, almost there. Okay, a little off the top here. Wee bit more. Okay, give her a go. Yay! That's it. One thing I'm pleased about is the depth is just right. It just is flush, maybe a 1/16 of an inch out from the face, so it's great. So I'll frame it in, frame it on 3 sides. We'll put it in, we'll screw it to the framing, and then caulk it on the outside. It'll be caulked on the inside too. Great. So next up, try and excavate this here. So I'll use all means at my disposal. Maybe this. Okay, I've got the foam cleaned out. You can see there's a stringer, or not a stringer, but a vertical right here. Very close. Up here is just foam. Take my word for it, it's just foam. And there's foam in here. And we've got this stringer across the bottom. I really dodged the bullet. Do you see this hole? I drilled a bunch of exploratory holes there. I think I got one that I drilled about here and here and here. I went and did a whole bunch across. I wanted to see if I could find any verticals. Because, and that one right there, actually, it just nicked that vertical. So anyhow, I was safe there, but if there had been another vertical here at 16 inches, I would have just cut right through it, in which case I'd be concerned about more about strength. But now we will cut some wood, about 2.5 inches I put a lintel across the top there, and then a couple pieces, tuck them in, and a little filler here. So I'll go look through what I have for wood. Okay, for reinforcing the opening, I chose to use some, instead of plastic lumber, I thought I better use the strongest thing I can, and I've got some flooring here, 3/4 inch oak flooring. It fits just right. I ran it through the planer just to take the lacquer finish off and present a good epoxy glue surface. I put these screws in just so I can get them in and out and maneuver them and so on. Okay, not that it makes that much difference. Okay, the hammer. Hammer, we just tap it up. I've cleared the foam just the right amount there. This one's for this side. This one is butting up against a solid, I'll call it stud. This one here just mushes up into foam. This one mushes into foam. Okay, and I just needed a thin 3/8 piece to fill the gap here. It rests straight on top of a stringer across here. I'm not going to tap it in all the way because it is a little tight. I want to be able to get it out. So this is my test fitting. This will provide from the opposite side. When I put this through, these screws around the perimeter of the bezel will be coming through and going into the solid hardwood frame. And with epoxy, each of these stringers will be glued in to the metal on the outside, the aluminum. On the inside, the paneling, which is really just about a 3-layer plywood. Okay, I primed the window frame pieces of wood, and inside the sandwich wall of the camper, I'm going to mix an epoxy glue. I'm going to add some fillers to it to make it into a pasty gruel. It'll stay in place, and the thickening agent will strengthen the epoxy as well and fill gaps. So, okay, I need to add, for this amount, it's a 40% hardener, a 40% B epoxy. So I need 35 grams. 30. For mixing epoxy, I use polyethylene containers because it doesn't react, and actually you can reuse them. You can peel it off later when it's hardened and reuse it if you've got a particular favorite container of size or whatever. Okay, this is pure epoxy. Is add cotton flocks. Cotton flocks, or flock, F-L-O-C-K. It's just this stuff. It looks like icing sugar. And we dump quite a bit in. It'll absorb a lot. We're doing this, you can add flocks or other additives to make it thicker so it stays in place, to make it like a putty or a peanut butter, if that's what you're looking to do to make fillets and things. Or if you're just wanting to glue it between two surfaces to do some gap filling, like when you're bonding say, a skin onto another, making a sandwich, bonding some, like in the case of the trailer, bonding some aluminum to some foam, and then thin board to the other side, you would use a mixture more like this, that's more like molasses. Not molasses, but mayonnaise. So this mayonnaise is pretty good. It's got the brush, it's still tacky from before. I'm going to use the brush to spread it. So we're off to the barn to apply this material. I thought I had the camera going, but I didn't when I put the mayonnaise mixture inside the slots here. And then the individual pieces of wood I gooped up with a brush. I gooped up the mayonnaise on them, pushed them in. I used these screws in here just to help make sure they were positioned if I need to tug or pull on them. And I pull this down so it would sit on this piece. And everything's in position. This one has a piece of a wood, a vertical right here. I'm going to use screws to attach that. But I'm going to take these out because they're not long enough. And replace them. Those were pre-drilled, the pieces I set in. Well, yeah, that one's split. Now, okay, I'll fill that with a little bit of epoxy. It split when the head went to seat. And this is oak, which tends to do that. Okay, that's below flush. That's good. For these, I don't think I have to tap these in at all. If these are a bit too proud, what I can do after is just with the sander, with the belt file, I can take them down a little bit. But I think everything's going to be good. See a little bit of squeeze out right here. I'm going to use that squeeze out to fill in that split right there. Cover that screw head there. Very good. Ooh, there's a lot of squeeze out there. Over time, we're probably going to see some squeeze out. I may have to do a little sanding or chiseling after if there's excess. I can fill in some of the screw holes here so they don't rust. Heads. Okay. Now these screws can come out. They're not required. And I've got quite a few clamps here. The only other thing that I will do is go get a drill, pre-drill a few holes. I'll pre-drill especially because it's oak and I don't want it to split. I'll pre-drill some small holes and put some stainless truss head fasteners around. I'll have to order more, like they're stainless, so. Yeah. I'll put the clamps on just so the paneling on the other side having cut out this piece here, this piece is very rigid. I can't, if I want to bend it like this, like put it over my knee and bend, I can't. I could probably put this on my knee, stand a 200-pound person here, a 200-pound person here, and it wouldn't bend. At some point it would buckle or yield, but it wouldn't bend. Very stiff. I've taken that stiffness out of this. So the risk is that if this is, that right now this is supported completely by a bench, just the way it would be in the truck. There's a support right here, there's a support there. If anything, when I walk on the floor here, it's unsupported, it could bend like that. This would go in tension, it would sag. So to help with that, on the inside I'm putting a piece of angle iron in against this surface and the floor. So it would be on the floor and then against the other side of the surface here. That will be screwed from this side with low head fasteners and come through with a screw just the right size and elastic stop nuts. It'd be bolted in place and then wood screwed to the floor, which is just chipboard. So I'll do that. Up here on the outside, I can't really do it on the inside the way things are, but on the outside, I'm going to go here. And this is up high enough it won't interfere with this, the wheel well, because I have to watch out down here below 7 inches and below. It would drag, could stick out more and reduce clearance to the wheel wells when I'm loading it. There's only like 1.5 inches per side or 1 inch per side clearance. But anyhow, I'll put up here, I'll move this just slightly, this propane pipe. And this is what I hope that it helps bridge this area here and restore any stiffness that I may have reduced. This is pretty severe. Originally I was looking for a hatch. It was about maximum anywhere from a half this size to 2/3 of this size. And I went and I bit the bullet, my impatience. I got this one. It's the best I could find. I think it's going to work well. And it is going to, the wheel well actually starts right about here. It rises to 7 inches. So that allows me to access the top of the wheel well, maybe put a chair or something in back there. But mainly allows me to get into all that space. What I may do is back here. Oops, under the propane tank is a storage area. I may get, there are standard these cutouts. I may put a 9-inch hole there or even a 6-inch hole that allow me from the far side to reach through. I could put small items in here as long as I can get my arm in there. So we will wait and see. That's not as important. This though will actually open up our usable space quite a bit for space that is still open to the weather. This just clears the bed rail. Okay, so air can still get in there, rain if it's raining, dust, critters, insects. So, say I'll leave this until tomorrow, then I'll get into the angle iron business. Here's the access hatch from the outside. It's been caulked and sealed around the edges as well. Up here is a piece of angle iron. Bed frames are a great source for angle iron, and that is screwed in just for reinforcement since I opened up such a big hole. Here's the hatch from the inside. Let's see, there we go. I chose to have it open this way because actually it's easier to get in and out of. If it was this way, it would be in the way of accessing. Also, this table mount here, if it had been hinged at the top, it wouldn't clear that. So that worked out fairly well. I used butyl tape, very sticky rubber, to seal the edges, and this has been screwed into the frame. Something else that I did was bed frame angle iron along the bottom, and that's all screwed in. I used some stainless screws so they wouldn't rust. So I'm pretty pleased with this. There used to be two plastic wire protecting conduits here, 1 and 1. So one of the wires I just relocated. I got some slack in the system and I relocated it up. There's just one. Otherwise I wouldn't have had room for the second one here. It interfered. But that's that. The only other thing, while I was in the mode of cutting holes, I installed a little car stereo unit and some speakers as well. So that was a good day's work. I'm pleased with the outcome. That's all for this video. I'll have a few more off-season videos to post on different things before we get into the spring and summer boating season, and we'll have some more content of the boating type at that time. Thanks for watching.